So a large grid of touring cars spreading across quite a large spectrum of touring car categories, beginning in 1966 and going all the way through to 1990, just before Super Touring came in. In fact, 1990 season, the British Touring Car Championship ran two classes, one for the, effectively the Sierra Cosworth, and one for the 2-litre cars. And then it became a solely 2-litre category after that. Now, what's going to happen about the moving of the Jaguar? It rather looked from the gestures by the car's gone off, it's pulled off because of some sort of mechanical problem, which has prevented the car from being moved. And of course, it's a big, heavy car, the XJS Jaguar, so it won't be the work of a moment. So we may have to have the start of the race given under the safety car, but at the moment, yeah, time is being counted down. So the original 50 minutes is now being eaten into, and this may be affecting one or two other cars. I noticed that there's got an MG Metro Turbo coming very slowly through Abbey. Number 34, which is Patrick Watt's car. He doesn't have Nick Swift to share with, actually, but I think Patrick may have a problem. He's picking up pace again. Probably because he's not very happy about having to drive so slowly with that little turbo engine in the front of the MG Metro. The pace picking up a little, but clearly frustrating for the drivers that the race has now started. So the race has got underway officially, even though it's behind the safety car, and there can be no overtaking. Although across the line, in the lead, number 151, Alan.
Titch, as you mentioned, a Metro, you know, in the Silverstone auction this weekend, there is a Metro 6R4, which only has 7 miles on the clock from new. I've been fascinated since they gave the press release about this, and I just asked Harry when he was queuing up to go out on the circuit, Harry Whale this is, responsible along with Father Nick for Silverstone auctions, if it has sold yet. No, it's for sale today.
We've had one Metro in the family, thank you.
Not a 6R4.
It wasn't a 6R4, no. So where's it been all these years?
I know, in a garage somewhere, being loved and looked after. The photographs are absolutely stunning. It was just like it had come out of a showroom.
Well, indeed it has, if it's only done that many miles, yes. So.
Yeah, but you would still have to look after it, Titch. You can't just pop it in the garage,
no,
can you?
I'm not about to, no. I'm sorry.
It would have to be one of those little air bubbles, wouldn't it? You'd have to look after it properly.
Yes, indeed, yeah. And I can think of other things made in Italy that might be more worthwhile. Like this, as I'm sure you've noticed, Alan, if I can move you away from Metros to the Jeff Gordon, Richard Meaden Alpha Sud Sprint.
Oh, yes.
A little jewel of a car, that is. It's beautifully turned out. You might remember I used to have one like that, but not a racing one, but the Alpha Sud Sprint, a pretty little car.
That wasn't one of your Alphas that I actually drove, was it, Titch?
No, this one had brakes.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. I'll set them up, you knock them down.
Right.
Let the brakes come to you,
that's what I said. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, the Jaguar, back to the matter in hand, which is this race. And the Alpha Sud Sprint is there in it. And the safety car lights are off now. The XJS has been moved out of the way. And the race about to go underway. I was slightly disconcerted for a moment because somebody other than Michael Lyons appeared on the top of the timing screen as the leader of the race, but it's now corrected. Michael Lyons is, of course, effectively the leader of the race. It'll be a 2x2 start to the race, but slightly delayed because of the need to move the Jaguar XJS out of the way. There's the Alpha Sud just going out of the shot now. Anyway, Michael Lyons leads, or will lead, once the race gets underway. In the number 60 car alongside him is Mark Wright, the builder of this car. But Michael, very quick in the historic Formula One cars and any other kind of historic car, but hasn't done much saloon car racing, but he certainly enjoys this car, and he's building up speed now. Because it's a safety car start, they don't have to do it side by side. And so away he goes, and Mark Wright being a little bit left behind there. Steve Dance in this glorious Cologne Capri recreation. It's not an original car, but it's been built to the specification of the Cologne Capris that raced in the European Touring Car Championship with the likes of Jackie Stewart at the wheel in the early 1970s. Steve Dance in 3rd place, then Colin Turkington in 4th place. Alistair, they're with you.
Coming up to Village, and through Village they go, and in fact Colin Turkington not in 4th place. It is in fact Julian Thomas's Sierra, then it's the Nissan Skyline of Rick Wood in 5th, then the 4th of the Sierras in 6th place, which is the Max Goff car. Colin Turkington actually the next car up, just ahead of the old Brooklyn Sierra.
Yeah, the one that was raced by Chris Hodgins in its heyday. There's the Nissan. Good to see that car. It was the one serious competitor, I think, to the Sierra Cosworths by the end of the 2-litre turbocharged cars, or 2.6 litre in the case of the Nissan. There's the Brooklyn car, and there is the number 66 Harry Whale Auto Trader BMW, the car that his father Nick used to race in the British Touring Car Championship in the late 1980s. So there's the Capri of Steve Dance, just turning through Copse Corner. Michael Lyons is probably already back with you, Alistair.
He is indeed, yes, and the flame-spitting second-placed Sierra of Mark Wright, very reminiscent of the era, and 3rd place is Steve Dance, followed by Julian Thomas, then the Nissan Skyline being harried now by Max Goff in his RS 500, and then Colin Turkington has dropped back behind the old, as you say, the old Chris Hodgetts Sierra.
We just picked up a shot, I'm afraid, of the Alpha Sud part of the side of the track, and smoke coming out of it. See, I will be honest, we couldn't avoid mentioning it, having talked about it earlier. I'm afraid something's gone wrong with it, and it has stopped in a cloud of smoke. Right, Michael Lyons is... Alan's chuckling away in the background somewhere. So Michael Lyons leading the way as they come through to complete their first racing lap. And already well clear of the pursuers. 3 seconds clear he is. Michael comes into Abbey, and assuming the car stays in one piece, which it should do, it's an Eggenberger prepared car, it's going to win very easily, I would have thought. Even though there's going to be a pit stop, Michael is the only driver for the car. Up into 4th place has come Julian Thomas in the number 1 Sierra Cosworth, the ex-Andy Rouse Sky Edwards car, and then in 5th place is another Sierra Cosworth, number 81, with Max Goff on the wheel to begin with. There's 66 Harry Whale, and the leaders already passed you. Sorry, Alistair.
They have, yes, they're on the way down to Brooklyn. So we're just marvelling at the angle of the front wheels on the Nissan Skyline, yes. Rick Wood's car. They're amazing amount of negative camber on them. Presumably to get the car to turn in.
Well, yeah, we'll imagine so, yeah. Nice little battle building up between Steve Dance in the early 70s Capri and the rather more modern late 80s Sierra Cosworth. With Julian Thomas right behind Steve Dance at the moment as they go past the Heritage pits, and Steve Dance is past, is he? But he repasses, yes, so Julian Thomas runs a bit wide and Steve Dance gets the place back. That's 3rd place they're fighting over at the moment. Going past you.
Unfortunately, we seem to have lost Colin Turkington along the way. Can't see him on our chart. So he's disappeared on that first lap. And the BMW being led, I think you've mentioned, by the Wales car, which is being soloed by Harry in 8th place.
Yeah, he's in the pits, I think you'll find. Alan, got Colin Turkington?
Yeah, he is in the pit lane. I'm right beside the car at the moment. The team are looking in on the left-hand side of the car, the right-hand side of the car, leaning in front of Colin. They're now going to pop the bonnet on the car and see what the... Oh, goodness me. I'm not sure I've ever seen that before. They were trying to sort of leverage out the dashboard display. Hugely frustrating for Colin. But after speaking to him during qualifying, maybe it gives a chance for him to rest the muscles in his arm, because he was reminded just how much physical activity, these cars are, pre-power steering in touring cars, which is what they're blessed with nowadays. Beautiful, beautiful cars, but a lot more physical to drive as far as the arms are concerned.
81, Max Goff pulling off. So that's one of the Sierra Cosworths down. So we've got a BMW in the pits, and we've got a Sierra Cosworth in trouble. Max Goff cruising round now. But Michael Lyons just going quicker and quicker and quicker. And of course, the circuit's still damp in one or two places, not really on the racing line. So I think we'll find that Michael will bring the lap times down and down and down. His lead now 3.8 seconds over Mark Wright in the number 60 Sierra Cosworth. And the number 81 car, which was third, now with problems, the Max Goff car. So Steve Dance will be up to third. And behind him, number 1, or perhaps ahead of him by now, they're chopping and changing places. We've also got to look out for the Tony John class, which is headed at the moment by Graham Bryant, assuming that Graham started in the car, in the number 21 Chevrolet Camaro. We were told that it was going to be Graham Bryant going first.
It is Graham Bryant at the wheel of the car, so he will hand over to son Ollie, and he's leading a pack of, there's a Mark 1 Escort, 2 Mark 1 Escorts actually, and 3 Capris in there. Wonderful sight going down to Brooklands.
Yeah, so Graham Bryant in 18th place, and then you've got all these Capris that Alison was talking about a little bit further back, because we've really got 2 touring car races going on here. The Historic Touring Car Challenge and the Tony John Trophy. Well, the Caliber Escort, Sierra I mean, has got ahead of the Capri. So that puts Julian Thomas up into 3rd place with the demise of the Goff car. So number 1 now 3rd, Steve Dance is 4th, but they are already 12 seconds adrift of Michael Lyons, who's just running away with things. 2 minutes 16.9 his last lap. He's lapping a second and a half quicker, at least, than anyone else. And up into 5th place has come 151 Craig Davis with the Brooklyn car. He is followed by 66 Harry Whale in the BMW, the leading BMW. And in 7th place is number 120, which is the Australian Sierra Cosworth of Kerry McMahon. In 8th place, number 3, is David Hart with his Ford Capri RS 3100, which will be taken over by Nicky Pastorelli, but currently that car running in 8th place. In 9th place is number 10, Mark Smith. And Alan has news from Colin Turkington.
Yeah, it's not good news. He's just started to loosen his belts. They carried on looking under the bonnet. They slowly replaced the bonnet on the car. They're still talking to Colin, but he's loosened his belts. This is very, very sad. It's, to so many of us, a really iconic touring car from our history of a growing love for the championship. And as Colin climbs out the car, we'll see if we can ascertain exactly what the problem was for the Mobile One backed BMW. Colin, what was the problem?
We're not quite sure yet. Basically, the car isn't accelerating above 8,000 revs. It should go to 8,000 plus, but it's only going to 6,000. So it's run faultlessly Thursday, Friday, and on the 2 green flag laps it was fine. But just as we approached the start, it just seemed to lose 2,000 revs. So yeah. These cars pick their moments to have little issues.
They have personalities, Colin.
Yeah, exactly. So it wasn't meant to be this time, but yeah, I've enjoyed it up until now.
Oh, I'm sorry for you, Colin. So the car retired. Colin Turkington hasn't really done any work, has he? 2 warming up laps, and that's about it. Retirement.
But somebody who is doing lots of work is Michael Lyons, and very effective it is too. He comes back into your sight, Alistair.
Yes, coming through, about to lap 1 of the Dolomite Sprints, done in Tony Dron colours, as it happens. Tony shared a car like that with Andy Rouse in the Broadspeed team, and he makes his way through the leader. Wonderful car that Michael is driving, and a very, very good driver at the wheel, and its attitude on the track is just absolutely on point. That Bastos liveried car. And we had a moment for our Tony Dron leader, which was Graham Bryant. He went very wide at Village and bumped across through puddles and mud and back onto the track again. Didn't lose the lead, but John Spears, I think, is just behind him now, challenging for the Tony Dron lead.
That was Graham Bryant, you said, so you had the moment.
Graham Bryant, yes, yeah. Yes, Graham Bryant.
Well, he'll be in as soon as the window opens. The window will open after 20 minutes. It's a 20-minute window between the 20th and the 40th minute of the race, and the cars have to be stationary for 1 minute. So Michael Lyons, 7 seconds now, 6.954 seconds ahead of Mark Wright, who has Dave Coyne to take over. But Mark is a pretty quick draw into the gravel, I'm afraid. Has gone another of the Fords, Sierras. This is the car of Paul Mensley, which looks well beached, I'm afraid, which may well necessitate a safety car whilst they extricate that, which will of course erode, if it should happen, Michael Lyons' large lead. But at the moment he's pressing on to very good effect indeed. There's the car of Craig Davis in 4th place, number 151, just coming up to lap the Alfa Romeo GTV6. And that Alfa in the middle of a battle with the Triumph Dolomite. So number 43 is the Alfa of Ian and Frank Guest. There's Steve Dance, now being shadowed by Craig Davis. Into the pits has come one of the best looking cars in the whole entry. That's number 221 Alex Elliott with the BMW CSL, reviving memories of the Tourist Trophy here when it was around the European Touring Car Championship in the late 1970s, when Pierre Dieudonné and Jean Xonceval starred in the Luigi BMWs, which generally won the Tourist Trophy.
Unfortunately, that car, I think, did quite a slow lap before going into the pits, so it might be a problem for them. And we noticed that Rick Wood's Nissan has disappeared a couple of 3 laps ago as well.
So Adam, so it's obviously not the day for BTCC drivers, because Colin Turner not getting very far, and Rick Wood stopped out on the circuit by the looks of things. The little symbol suggesting it's not so much in the pits as out on the circuit somewhere, but stationary. Which is a shame, because it was a car worth looking at. Right, we've now had 20 minutes, so into the pits they can come. The pit window is open. So the order at the moment, before the pit stops really start, in the lead, number 51, Michael Lyons with the Bastos Sierra Cosworth. In 2nd place, number 60, Mark Wright, who'll be handing over to Dave Coyne. In 3rd place, number 16, Ford Capri of Steve Dance. In 4th place, number 151, Craig Davis' Sierra Cosworth. In 5th place, the leading BMW, number 66, Harry Whale. In 6th place, number 1, Julian Thomas in the Caliber Sierra. In 7th place, number 120, Kerry McMahon's Sierra Cosworth. In 8th place, number 3, David Hart's. David Hart's RS 3100 Ford Capri, well, obviously the same sort of period as the Steve Dance car theoretically is. In 9th place, David Tomlin now, number 68 has moved up. And that is the Zach Speed Ford Escort RS 1800. And in 10th place is the number 11 Rover of Fred Wakeman at the moment. And we have a safety car, don't we? So the safety car coinciding with the pit window being open presumably means there's going to be a mass visitation to the pits. So stand by, Alan. You've got to get everybody in the pits now whilst we've got this safety car to retrieve, I would imagine, the Paul Mensley Ford Sierra from the gravel where it had come to rest recently. So, given that the pit window had only just opened, I don't suppose anybody's going to be unable to make the pit stop. Yes, it is the Paul Mensley car, as you can see. That's at Copse Corner, isn't it? The safety car having to wait for the leader to arrive. It's nearly there now, just a couple more cars to be let past before you got the leader behind the safety car. But we'll probably mess things up by diving into the pits. There's the BMW 5 Series. Now the leader, but almost certainly heading for the pit lane. Is he going to make the pit stop? Yes, he is. Michael Lyons coming into the pits. Almost everybody heading for the pit lane. There's the BMW of Harry Whale in its Auto Trader livery. A couple of cars have stayed out, Alistair, so when they get to you, you'll have babbling along there. That's the Kerry McMahon car. He'll join the line as well. That's
a very, very original car that Australian Kerry McMahon has brought over. It did Bathurst in period, and then sat in a museum for 20 years. And yep, safety car coming up towards us. Looks like Mark Wright has stayed out.
So driver change on the number 1 car. Alan.
Yep, Julian Thomas just leaps out of the car. As you predicted, Titch, not surprisingly, it's very, very busy down here at the moment. And Callum Lockie just being strapped into the number 1 caliber RS 500. Back to the Capri. The number 12 Escort leaving pit lane as well. The Capri getting a quick clean of the windscreen. They're 2 abreast down here. Harry Whale's car is at a stop. The 57 Escort about to leave. Adam Morgan has just walked past me over towards the car where he has to put, I think, not one, but no, there's one sort of little booster cushion behind him as he squeezes himself into the car. You're still looking at the number 3 Capri as it leaves pit lane.
Safety car coming in. So those who haven't stopped are going to be compromised, I would have thought. Mark Wright, the leading car at the moment then. And he's not come in. Safety car's gone in, so they can resume racing. So the leader of the race is number 60, Mark Wright, for the moment, but he's yet to stop. And right behind him is number 120, the car that Alan was talking about, the Kerry McMahon, or Alistair was talking about, Kerry McMahon in second place, number 120. Michael Lyons back in the race, unless he gets caught up with somebody else. Oh, he's got right behind him though, hasn't he? He's got the Steve Dance Capri right behind him. So those 2 are the leading pit stoppers, I would reckon. How far down the order they will have dropped, we will find out very soon. Not that far, I suspect. So the leader at the moment, but yet to stop from the pits.
Good. As I said, got himself with his booster cushion into the seat of the car, but there's an electrical problem with the car. So the car's still here, the team rushing around trying to get Adam out on circuit, but great shame for that Nissan that we were talking about earlier, Titch.
Indeed, yes. So Michael Lyons, actually, because of the safety car situation, he's only lost 2 places. And he's lost 2 places. So, now into the pits has come number 60, Mark Wright, to hand over to Dave Coyne. Also into the pits, but it's too late for them, Kerry McMahon, in the sense they're really going to lose out now because all the others stopped under the safety car. And so Michael Lyons only dropped 2 places. And he'll now go back to the lead as those 2 cars, number 60 and number 120, have made their pit stop. So Michael and all the others calling it right. But Michael does have right behind him Steve Dance's Ford Capri, as you can see on the screen. So as they come out of Luffield, it's the Sierra Cosworth just ahead of the much earlier design, the Ford Capri RS 3100. To see where Nicky Pastorelli is. He's taken over from David Hart. He's in 8th place in the other one, the gold one, number 3. But there's the leading car coming out of Copse Corner now. And back into your sight, Alistair.
It's very different technology in these two cars, the 2-litre turbocharged engine and the 3.4, I think it is, that the GA engine in the Capri, and they go either side of the Mark 1 Escort, who must have just kept his wheel straight and hoped for the best, and they go now through the last element of Beckett's. They decide to go the either side of a Capri, and Michael Lyons goes for the long way round, whereas Steve Dance went for the short route.
And the result is that they're side by side onto Hanger Straight with the Sierra just ahead of the Capri as they head down towards Stoke Corner. The Bastos Sierra just gets in front as they head into Stoke Corner, but Steve Dance really fighting hard with that Capri. It's great to see this car going so well. Stephen's had some success with it already. Won at Thruxton earlier on this year with the car. And as Alistair makes the point, very different technology. Many years between the two of them. Although Steve Dance's car isn't the one that goes back then, it's built to the right specification, but it's not a car that in itself raced in period. So through Abbey and the Capri, Steve Dance really fired up now to stay with Michael, whose pace, well, we'll see on the next lap, probably because of traffic isn't helping. But anyway, they're back with you, Alistair.
Yes, into Village, and Michael Lyons locks a brake there. I think it was front right as he turned into Village, and Steve Dance really almost pushing him along as they go through there. It's very quick indeed, Steve Dance's Capri. The power of the Sierra now comes in, the turbocharger spitting flames out of the side exhausts as they go down the Wellington Straight once again.
Well, considering the way that Michael was able to open that large lead in the first part of the race, now he is just finding it very difficult to shrug off the Capri, and Steve Dance driving really well. Let's just see, last time around they didn't lap more quickly than they had done previously, so Steve Dance hasn't had to up his game to stay with the Sierra in terms of putting in quicker lap times, but they are encountering cars all around the circuit now. In third place is Craig Davis in the Brooklyn car, the red one, number 151 red Sierra. Fourth is Harry Wales BMW. Fifth is now Callum Lockie in the number 1 Caliber Sierra. In sixth place is Nicky Pastorelli in the number 3 Capri. Well, that car may make some progress pretty soon. It's 12.5 seconds though to make up on Callum Lockie, which won't be easy. In seventh place is 68 David Tomlin with his the Ford Escort RS 1800, the Zach Speed replica car. And eighth is because of that late pit stop outside the safety car period, Dave Coyne now down in 8th place in the number 60 Sierra, and behind him number 120 is Kerry McMahon, and in 10th place is Patrick Watts with the MG Metro Turbo, believe it or not. So that's the leading little car there on the screen. You can see Harry Whale in Dad's BMW. Harry's turned out to be a very quick driver over the last few years. And there he is coming into Club Corner. Last time around, Michael Lyons, I said he wasn't having to put in quicker lap times. Well, he is now, and he's getting away from Steve Dance quite noticeably. He just completed his best lap of the race, his fastest lap of anybody, 2 minutes 16.799. And he's now 2.5 seconds clear of Steve Dance, as you can see, Alistair.
Yes, just past the remaining Alfa Romeo in the race, passes round the outside of Village, but yeah, he's pulling away from Steve Dance now, and once again changing gear as he goes through Aintree. Big lick of flame out of the side, another gear change as he goes under the bridge down the Wellington Straight.
In the Tony Dron Trophy, the leading car is the number 41 Ford Capri, which was started by George Potchkiol, but is now being driven by James Hansen, which possibly partly explains why it's risen up the order. So James Hansen 10 seconds ahead of John Spears in the number 15 Capri, and Ollie Bryant in the Camaro is third in the Tony Dron Trophy at 18th. Now he is 2.2 seconds behind John Spears, 12.8 seconds behind James Hansen. So that's the Tony Dron Trophy battle. 41, 15 and 21. And also up there as well with them is number 8, Mike Whittaker, with his Ford Capri. That's a race within a race. It's worth keeping an eye on.
And that's actually going through Luffield at the moment, that group of cars.
Steve Dance in second place now. Is Craig Davis catching him? There in the Brooklyn Sierra Cosworth. Last time around, yes, Craig was quicker by 0.3 of a second. So each of them has just done their personal best lap, each of the three leaders. Quickest, of course, by some way, Michael Lyons. Steve Dance, best lap, but not as quick as Craig Davis behind him. So that gap's beginning to come down, I think. There's the BMW of Harry Whale in 4th place, going through Stowe Corner. And Michael Lyons completes another lap, 12 completed then. Looking very impressive indeed, Michael, in that car, ever since he first drove it. And 5.7 seconds, he is now ahead of Steve Dance, who isn't being caught that rapidly, if he's being caught at all by Craig Davis. Yeah, 6.1, the gap's actually gone up a little bit on that lap, I think. Or has it? No, it's come down another half second. So the leader's getting a bit spaced out, and perhaps it's time to turn our attention to what's going on in Tony John Trophy, which I just mentioned is being led by the number 41 car, just over the line then. James Hansen in the number 41 Capri. And he's followed by John Spears, number 15. There's 41 coming past me here, the SO Vince Woodman livery. And second, quite some way back, but it's now Ollie Brandt. He's got the Camaro up into 2nd place. And I'm afraid the next Sierra to visit the gravel is the number 20 car of... No, it's 120, that isn't it? Kerry McMahon. It's number 120. We've got a replay of how he got there. So, Kerry McMahon, who's against, and unfortunately, although there was a bit of grass he could have ended up on, instead he's got into the gravel, which did the job of slowing the car down. But that is 120, the Benson Hedges Australian Ford Sierra Cosworth. So that is out. It was running in 9th place. And Sierra Cosworth also having another problem there. Number 1, the Caliber car. Unusual for Callum Lockie to make a mistake, but looks as though that's what happened. So it's an excuse to watch a lot of the Alfa Romeos in the race. But Callum carries on racing, but caught on camera. Oh, we've got both Alphas there running past the pits. We've got a replay here of what Callum did. He'll have to explain himself later, I think, but it's been caught on camera, Callum.
And while all that's going on, I'm afraid looks like a retirement will be number 60, Mark Wright. Dave Coyne now, I suppose, at the wheel.
Yes.
And that was going slowly down the Wellington Straight. Early leading group car.
Well, the Sierra Cosworths aren't doing terribly well at the moment, aren't we? They seem to be having problems all over the place, whether it's falling off the track or whether it's mechanical problems. But anyway, the one in front doesn't seem to be, as I say, this touching wood, doesn't seem to be having any problems at all. And it is 9.5 seconds now clear of Steve Dance in the RS Capri. And Alan in the pits.
Yeah, the 81 Sierra down in pit lane with... I'm not sure, and I'm not sure they're sure either, but some kind of electrical connection problem that they're trying to identify. But the car has been here for a little while now, and it doesn't look as if it's going anywhere very soon. It's a shame. Got a few little problems down here in pit lane, including Adam Morgan just doing that one out lap and bringing the Nissan back into pit lane. It's going back on track now, Titch.
Thanks, Alan. We've got a battle building up though for 3rd place, because Craig Davis has the BMW of Harry Whale right on his tail. This is for 3rd place. They go either side of the Ford Capri as they come through Luffield. The Sierra staying just ahead. Craig Davis hanging on to 3rd place at the moment, but Harry Whale really putting the pressure on. Obviously outpowered on the straight. But flashes of flame from the Sierra's exhaust as it changes down for Copse Corner. There's Harry Whale in the Auto Trader BMW following him, but he got right up behind him. There is the, I'm afraid, the Nissan Skyline having more problems, but concentrating on there. But with you, Alistair, the Sierra BMW. And
Craig Davis able to pull away on that section of the track, but maybe through the tight section here, Harry will close back up on him again. It almost looked as though he was going to get through by us that last time around, but suddenly that gap has opened out. And in the other race, it looks like Ollie Bryant is closing in on the lead of the Tony John Trophy on James Hansen.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Camaro should be able to beat all the Capris. It shouldn't be a problem. It's just a question of how long it takes Ollie to do it, having taken over the car when he wasn't in the lead. But James Hansen is a quick driver, but the gap is down to under 7 seconds now.
And a safety car out.
Yeah, safety car is out. I'm afraid. I assume it's because of the Kerry McMahon Sierra. So the gravel does its job, but it does unfortunately result in the safety car being required. As usual, the aim is to have the leader directly behind the safety car, so other cars are waiting through, and I think it's now, yes, they've got Michael Lyons there, followed by Patrick Watts in the MG Metro Turbo, as Patrick was going to drive that car all the way through, not be sharing it with Nick Swift in the end, was the decision. And we have just under 10 minutes of the race time remaining. The pit window is closed, and everybody has made at least one pit stop. And the order then is, I'll do first of all the overall positions. In the lead, number 51, Michael Lyons in the Bastos Sierra. Second, number 16, Steve Dance in the Ford Capri, Cologne Capri. Third, number 151 in the Brooklyn Sierra, Craig Davis. In fourth place, number 66 in the Auto Trader BMW, Harry Whale. In fifth place, the gold Capri number 3, now being driven by Nicky Pastorelli. In sixth place, the Caliber Sierra number 1, now being driven by Callum Lockie. In seventh place, number 68, the Ford Escort RS 1800, the Zaxby replica of David Tomlin. In eighth place, it should be 34, Patrick Watts with the MG Metro Turbo. In ninth place, number 11, now Pat Blakeney-Edwards at the wheel of the Rover SD1. And in 10th place, number 10, which is the Mark Smith, but now son Aaron Moulton Smith, BMW M3 in 10th place. Then we get to the, well, in 13th place overall is the number 41 Capri, driven now by James Hansen. And of course the safety cars helped Ollie Bryant in the sense that he's been able to close up even more from second place, as he is in the Tony John Trophy class at the moment in the Chevrolet Camaro. Third in the Tony John Trophy is John Spears in the number 15 Capri, and fourth is number 8 Mike Whitaker, also in the Capri, and fifth in Tony John Trophy is number 7, that's James Slaughter with his Ford Capri. Michael Lyons driving diagonally across the track on the straight to get or keep heat as much as possible in the tyres, aware of the situation after the last safety car, which may have been because he was having to be cautious on tyres that had cooled off rather. But the safety car is coming in at the end of this lap, so we can resume racing for hopefully the full duration of the race, another 7.5 minutes. So Michael turns into club corner, and directly behind him is the MG Metro Turbo, Patrick Watts. And Michael really hanging it out there as he came out of club corner to make the break before Steve Dance could get close to him. And I think he's been successful in doing that. Of course, Steve had to sit behind the Metro until they got past the green flag. And that's, this time, as you'll see, Alistair, helped Michael's cause. He's broken away, I think.
Yes, very much so, although he does lock a right front tyre, much worse than the other time I mentioned it, all the way into Village that time, just trying to brake at the last possible moment, and runs out over the curb on the exit of the loop. But that gap back to Steve Dance, based on previous experience, is enough for him to retain that lead. In third place, the Craig Davis Brooklyn ex-Chris Hodgetts Sierra, just going down to pass and put a lap on the
Patrick
Metro.
Watts. Yeah.
Patrick Watts.
Which is, of course, a lap behind now, but still running in the top 10. As far as the Tony John Trophy goes, it may change this lap. This is the, we can possibly show that. Number 41, James Hansen in the Capri, and number 21, Ollie Bryant in the Chevrolet Camaro. That's the Tony John Trophy contest.
And they're just going through Brooklands.
There's Harry Whale in 4th place. Quite a scrummage of cars at the moment. Before you, we've got an Escort, a BMW, a Rover, an MG Metro. That's Patrick Watts, isn't it? Number 34. All fanning out onto the Wellington Straight with the Rover. Pat Blakeney-Edwards just having got ahead up into 8th place overall, ahead of Patrick Watts in the Metro, but they're all about to be lapped by the BMW of Harry Whale.
And Ollie Bryant takes the lead of the Tony John Trophy through Maggots in towards Beckett. Beckett's just slides past the James Hansen Vince Woodman Capri.
A great mix of cars there we've got in that group. I think there's no 2 cars the same, is there? And it includes, you suggest at one stage, Alice, there was only one Alfa Romeo left. There's quite a few Alfa Romeos still in the race at various times, I think it's fair to say. One of them is at the tail end of this group. There's the BMW 5 Series, number 115, Bill Cutler, the Australian, with his M535 BMW, followed by the Alfa GTV6.
Yes, and Bill Cutler just braking a little later than the Mark 1 Escort. The Alfa behind. The Bull D'Or car, that's a really pretty looking car in original colours, isn't it? Beautifully prepared, just trying to get past the Escort on the exit of Beckett's.
Right, the Metro, now is that slowing or is it? No, it's just there's Patrick Watts waving Harry Whale through. And just to show that he's not getting tired, Michael Lyons has just had a new fastest lap last time around, 2:60.632, to build up his lead once more over Steve Dance, who's done a great job in that Capri, which his own team have built. And he has behind him 4 seconds behind him only, 151 Craig Davis in the Brooklyn car. Callum Lockie not making up any more ground. Nicky Pastorelli is closing in on, yes, that's one to watch. Nicky Pastorelli, I reckon, is closing up on Harry Whale for 4th place. They're in different classes, but that's 4th place overall. He's only now just under 4 seconds behind. We've got 3 minutes and 20 seconds of the race remaining. So that's number 66, the Auto Trader BMW, being caught by number 3.
They're in Beckett's now, and they go through. Does look like he's getting closer, yes, and Patrick Watts flying along in that Metro Turbo. Huge lick of flame out of the back as he comes off the power through Beckett's.
There we are, there's the Capri, there's the BMW ahead of it. And we had the 3, so for the first time in the race, really, there weren't any slower cars getting in the way of the order as the camera showed us the cars. There's the Nicky Pastorelli Capri. Well, the David Hart owned car, but Nicky drives the car for him. And it is certainly reeling in Harry Whale in the BMW, number 66. Very distinctive livery on that car. And powering its way out, the great big fat rear tyres, aren't there? So there's the BMW, and here comes the Capri out of Woodcote. So I don't mean out of Woodcote, I mean out of Club. And going through Abbey now, and back into your side, Alistair.
Coming up towards Village, the BMW turns in, and the Capri, as we get Steve Dance come through in the similar car with the 3.4 litre engine, and through the left-hander at the loop. The gap between them at the line was about 3.5 seconds or so, and as they go out onto the Wellington Straight, the Capri should have the top speed advantage perhaps, but the BMW very, very quick, especially in the hands of Harry Whale.
And it's a 2.5, it's not a 2 litre BMW, this is a 2.5 litre car. So it is, it wants to run it with this is the DTM spec engine rather than what was raced in the European Touring Car Championship as a 2.5 litre engine in this. So it comes out of Luffield. Nicky Pastorelli certainly pressing on in the Capri in 5th place. And Michael Lyons There he is, just negotiating one of the Alfa Romeos. Comes on to Hangar Straight. Now we've got just under a minute to go. I think he's going to get one more lap in after this one. Into Stowe Corner. Yep, there'll certainly be one more lap after this. Michael has driven a faultless race, despite the two safety cars. He's been able to build a lead at the start and build a lead again after both of the safety car interruptions. About 25 seconds on the clock. And he also drives the car in an exciting way. He's always been a fairly spectacular driver ever since he started racing in Formula Ford in his teens. And turns into Abbey now. Michael Lyons has put on a very, very good display. I think you'll agree, Alistair, in this car.
Very good indeed, yes. Totally composed. The car really looks, apart from locking a brake into Village every time.
Well, that's the car, not Michael. But yeah, you've got the second and third place cars closing up.
We have indeed, yes. Craig Davis suddenly appears on the scene behind Steve Dance in the Brooklyn Sierra, driven by Chris Hodgetts through the left-hander at the loop. Craig Davis comes out through Aintree. So can he catch Steve Dance for second place?
Yes, we've got one Capri playing catch-up and one being caught.
And I'm afraid Harry Whale has pulled off on the last lap on the inside of the loop. So that puts Nicky Pastorelli up into fourth place.
Oh dear, so near, but so far. So I'm afraid the BMW is a retirement on the last lap of the race. And elevates, as Alistair says, Nicky Pastorelli in the gold Capri up into fourth place, elevates the Julian Thomas Callum Lockie car up into fifth place, and David Tomlin, that lovely Escort RS 1800, up into sixth place. But there's no doubt about the dominant driver of the race, Michael Lyons. And nose to tail then, as Steve Dance just going past you, aren't they, Alistair?
Yes, going through Beckett's now, and well, Craig Davis has closed the gap right up to a couple of car lengths, although Steve Dance gets a better exit out of Beckett's corner through to Chapel onto the Hangar Straight.
Of course, Craig Davis featured his Mustang yesterday in that battle with Jake Hill. Now he's trying to find a way around Steve Dance. He's got the inside line as they head down towards Stowe Corner. Is he going to be able to go through and take second place? Steve Dance tried to stay with him. In the end, it didn't prove possible, and the Sierra's gone through, but Steve Dance is fighting back. I don't know if he'll be able to retrieve the place. And we, ahead of them, await, there he is, coming through Club Corner, up to take the checker flag. A dominant performance by Michael Lyons in the Sierra Cosworth. A really, really good drive that was. For second place, it's going to be almost level as they cross the line, just with the Sierra ahead. So the Brooklyn Sierra just takes second place from Steve Dance in the Capri, a change of place on the last lap. So a lot of things have happened on the last lap. We've got the retirement, I'm afraid, of the Harry Whale Auto Trader BMW. So Nicky Pastorelli, here he is in the number 3 Ford Capri. That fabulous sounding V6 engine takes fourth place, and fifth place will go, after a minor indiscretion en route, to the Callum Lockie Julian Thomas Caliber Sierra. Just coming through Club Corner up to the flag. That'll take fifth, and sixth will be, well, I was saying with some confidence that the Sierra was about to finish, but it seems to slow right down in the middle of Club Corner, but it's got there in the end. So Callum Lockie, struggling across the line, takes fifth place, but seemingly with some problem going wrong. There is in the background there, the Ford Escort of David Tomlin, and Alan is down there with Michael Lyons.
Hey, Michael, you told me at the start of the Silverstone Classic how much you like this car. You like it even more now. That was dominant.
Yeah, it was good fun. I wasn't sure if the safety car was going to come out or not for that car in the gravel, and I should have pitted the lap before. I was thinking about it, and then when it came out, I was like, oh no, this is going to make it more interesting. And we came out, and I think the Capri must have had a really good stop, and he came out quite quick. So we had a bit of a battle through the back markers. I saw a bit of his front wing quite close at one point. It was a bit more touring car style than the start of it had been, but it was good fun.
How would you describe this car to drive?
It's just fantastic. I mean, the damp conditions put you a bit more on edge, obviously with a big turbo lag and all that stuff, but just so much fun. As soon as you get it in the boost, the thing flies, and it's mega to have something where you've got a bit of straight line advantage against the other cars around you.
Well done, Michael. Great to have you on the top step of the podium in a couple of moments, and the rest of the cars are appearing down here. Let me see if I get the chance to speak to Craig Davis, who's just behind me. See if I can. Craig, can we have a quick chat? It's all about the last lap with you, isn't it?
I know, I must just be asleep at the beginning, I don't know. But I haven't been out in this car for 2 years, and we've done a lot of work to try to get it reliable. That's why it's now finishing races. So, but it just took a bit of getting used to, as you could imagine, because they are a great car to drive. And but it's great racing. There was a lot of overtaking and fair dues, you know, getting second on the end there, give each other room. So it's great racing, legends racing.
Super stuff, Craig. Thank you very much indeed. So we spoke to Craig, who finishes up on the last lap in second place, and also our winner, Michael Lyons, where podiums are coming up. Next, we'll have 2 podiums, one for the historic Touring Car Challenge, one for the podium for the Tony Dron Trophy, and we have the Gordon Spice Trophy to be awarded as well. All of that's coming up next.
Right, just to confirm the positions then, the winner number 51 in the Bastos Sierra, Michael Lyons. Second in the Brooklyn Sierra, number 151, Craig Davis. Third, the Ford Capri of Steve Dance, just passed on the last lap by Craig Davis. In fourth place, the Ford Capri RS 3100 of David Hart and Nicky Pastorelli. In fifth place, the Caliber Sierra Cosworth number 1 of Julian Thomas and Callum Lockie. In sixth place, David Tomlin in the Zaxpeed Ford Escort RS 1800, number 68. In seventh place, number 10, the BMW of the Mark Smith and Aaron Moulton Smith. In eighth place, number 11, the Rover of Fred Wakeman and then Pat Blakely Edwards. In ninth place, Patrick Watts with the MG Metro Turbo. And in 10th place, number 24, also in a Rover SD1, Chris Williams and his son Charlie.
2 podiums coming up for race 16 of the weekend, the historic Touring Car Challenge, and we'll also have a podium for the Tony Dron Trophy element of the race that we've just enjoyed. Delighted to say that we will be joined by Nick Bicknell from Silverstone Auctions to make the presentations. First of all, to the top 3 driver pairings, and they are single drivers for the historic Touring Car Challenge. Drivers onto the podium in reverse order, starting with third place, number 16, Steve Dance. Just on the final lap, Steve, but you're on the podium. You're on the podium. In second place, he always does it on the last lap, doesn't he? Number 151, Craig Davis onto the podium. Well done, Craig. Congratulations, making his way through the crowd onto the second step of the podium. And our dominant winner, number 51, Michael Lyons. Well done, Michael. Congratulations. And now Nick Bicknell from Silverstone Auctions will step forward and make the presentation. First of all, at the far end to Steve Dance with his third place silver trophy, and a handshake with Steve, and a couple of words with Nick Bicknell from Silverstone Auctions as well. Over to this end of the podium, and a handshake for Craig Davis, and a couple of words with Craig and the second place trophy in hand, and then on to the top step of the podium to our dominant winner in the Sierra, Michael Lyons, about to take a very large silver trophy and the winner's garland around the neck. Fantastic stuff as our winner holds up the trophy. P1 for Michael Lyons in the historic Touring Car Challenge, and this the historic Touring Car Challenge element. Now, let's get all 3 drivers together on the top step of the podium. We've just heard from our top 2 drivers down in the pit lane. Photographic opportunity, and we have another photographic opportunity. Now, gentlemen, if I ask you to get back down onto your respective steps of the podium, stand where you are. I am delighted to say that we are joined by Gordon Spice this weekend at the Silverstone Classic, and he's about to give out the Gordon Spice Trophy, and he is going to present it to the driver in third place, to Steve Dance. There we go. So, Gordon, would you like to step up on the podium? And also, quite fantastic volume there, a celebration of 50 years of the Capri. Gordon, enjoy the moment and then make your presentation to Steve Dance at the far end of the podium, if you would. Well done, Steve. Congratulations, Steve, of course, in the Capri. And celebrating 50 years of the iconic coupe from Ford here at the Silverstone Classic. So a great photographic opportunity now with Gordon Spice on the podium as well. The cameras will click away, and that is our first podium, everybody. Well done to all of them, and a huge thank you to Nick Bicknell from Silverstone Auctions, and a huge thank you also to Gordon Spice for making the presentation of the Gordon Spice Trophy. The next awards are the trophies for the Tony Dron Trophy, and I think it'll be Nick that presents those trophies once again. So let's get the drivers onto the podium in reverse order for the Tony Dron Trophy. In third place, number 15, John Spears. Well done, John. Congratulations. Goes over to the far end of the podium. In second place, number 41, George Pokiol and James Hansen. Well done to them. Onto the second step of the podium, if you please. And then onto the top step of the podium, number 21, Oliver Bryant and Graham Bryant. Well done to them. Onto the top step of the podium they will go. And I think it will be Nick that makes the presentation once again. So over to the far end, if you please. And the presentation to our third place driver, to John Spears, gets a handshake and the third place trophy from Nick. Over to this end of the podium to our second place drivers, to George Pokiol and James Hansen. They get their second place silver trophies. And then to the top step, the Bryants. And on the top step, Ollie and Graham about to receive these huge Silverstone Classic winners' trophies. Well done. Congratulations, Graham and Ollie, on the top step of the podium. Pose with their trophies, and then they can get as close as they can, please, on the top step of the podium to get a nice photograph of... Good idea, Graham. Popping the trophies down on the floor is a good idea because they're quite big, aren't they? So we get a photograph of everyone, and we'll have a quick word with Ollie and Graham, and then that will conclude our podium presentation. Ollie, step back down if you would. You had to work, didn't you?
Yeah, it was good. Dad had a great start, and he held on to the lead. And then when the safety car came out, I think we lost out a little bit on the in lap. But got out there, and then they just gave me the gaps, and I pushed until we caught them. It was great fun, really good.
A grand job, and you did a grand job as well, Graham.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. About halfway through, I flew off the circuit just past the wing, which has put the steering a bit out of sync. But I then came back in with the other Capris, managed to get past them, and so lost a bit on the safety car. But you know, made a great race. What we need is more Camaros, more Mustangs out there. They're all sitting in people's garages doing nothing, so we need a few more here.
Let's get them out and racing. That's a very good feeling to leave us with, Graham. Thank you very much indeed. Graham and Ollie Bryant on the top step of the podium, and the winners' garlands around the neck, which concludes our podium presentation for the historic Touring Car Challenge, and that was the podium for the Tony Dron Trophy element of the race.